Good day, everybody. I'm Shmee, and I make guides for Path of Exile's Ruthless mode. If you're enjoying the content, please hit that like button, and feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see more. Today, I'm back to show you how to create a Righteous Fire Guardian. I knew Sentinel of Radiance was incredibly powerful, but this build takes it to an entirely different level. This character is the smoothest, comfiest, and strongest build I know of when starting a new character in Ruthless Ancestor League. Not only that, but this character is perfectly adapted to meet the exact challenges of Ruthless and quickly excel once you hit the endgame. In short, if anyone watching this has wanted to try Ruthless but felt intimidated by all the talk of low drop rates and frustration, this build will make Ruthless feel like just a slightly harder version of Standard League. The biggest problem or weakness with this build is that it has a lot going on, so we're going to break it down into 3 parts. First is minions. You get Sentinel of Radiance as well as a Golem of your choice. I went with Flame Golem. The build gets a significant amount of increased minion damage, but it's almost all selfish. Your Sentinel is a massive tank, your Golem is a nice distractor and buffer, but you really get all those stats for yourself because of the notable passive Spiritual Aid. Second is Righteous Fire. The build is based around using Righteous Fire, but as a Guardian, you also gain access to the Ascendancy Time of Need. The amount of armor, life, and life regeneration that you get in the build makes you already extremely difficult to kill. To say that this build is tanky is an understatement, and because you need to push resistances for Righteous Fire, it also gets a significant amount of resist from the passive tree. This lowers your gear dependence and in general makes leveling far easier. Third is your spell toolkit. Not only do you deal immense damage all the time with your Righteous Fire, but you gain access to Armageddon Brand, Flame Wall, Scorching Ray, and Fireball with the Ignite, giving you 5 sources of ongoing damage. Oh, and that doesn't even include your minions. Do you have to do all of this? No, absolutely not. In fact, this build would work just fine and be a lot easier to play using only either Scorching Ray or Fireball, Armageddon Brand, and Righteous Fire. The big idea is that you have a massively powerful set of spells to choose from. If you want to play a Righteous Fire Guardian, you'll first need to create a Farm Witch just to kill Hillock. This gives you Fireball, and you can use Raise Zombie, but I passed on zombies because I knew my gem socket space was already going to be tight. You also can create a Farm Marauder. You would take him as far as finishing the Breaking Some Eggs quest, but this is purely optional. The reason you would do this is so that you could get Decoy Totem as a Marauder. But if you don't make a Farm Marauder, you're simply going to replace Decoy Totem and Flame Wall with Holy Fire Totem, which you get on the Templar. Now you're ready to start your Guardian. The skill gem reward for killing Hillock as a Templar is irrelevant, so you can just take whatever you want and stash it. When you finish the Breaking Some Eggs quest, if you farmed Decoy Totem, then take Flame Wall. If you did not farm Decoy Totem, take Holy Flame Totem. After killing Brutus, take Vitality. Take Scorching Ray after getting to the Cavern of Wrath. And when you kill General Gravicius in Act 3, take Armageddon Brand. When you get your first uncarved gemstone, trade it in for Righteous Fire. When you finish breaking the seal in Act 4, you get your choice of a Golem. I'll have a note on that in just a second. And once you get your second uncarved gemstone, trade it in for the aura Clarity. Now, for a very quick note on golems, your best choice is either Chaos Golem for defense or Flame Golem for offense. Stone Golem would be nice, Lightning Golem could even be nice, but both of them have requirements that you don't want to meet. Stone Golem especially has a dexterity requirement, and to be honest, the regeneration that you get from Stone Golem, it's just not necessary. So if you want to go for defense, choose the mitigation option of Chaos Golem instead. To level up your passive tree, take the initial life and regeneration path out of the Templar starting area, Then develop the life and damage points to get the notables Retribution, Light of Divinity, and Holy Dominion. After this, your goal is to spam life regeneration by developing down to this fire cluster, as well as the regeneration cluster Hardy. Make sure to take both masteries for these two clusters, the Fire Mastery, which regenerates life based on your fire resistance, and the Recovery Mastery, which gives you a flat 50 life regeneration per second. At some point while you're working through this path, you're going to run out of intelligence to level up your skill gems. When that happens, take Ancestral Knowledge. After you gain the regeneration and ancestral knowledge, you're going to develop downward and in through Diamond Skin, all the way to Unwavering Stance, as well as taking Prismatic Skin. You should be down around this area when you acquire Righteous Fire, and most likely you'll be able to use it right away because of the giant flat regeneration you get from the 2 masteries you took. Just make sure to get your fire resistance up to the cap as quickly as possible. You're welcome to develop the Sanctuary Cluster to help you get there. You'll also want to eventually use the Juggernaut Cluster to take the Armor Mastery, further increasing your maximum resistances, but don't bother taking this until you're wearing armor on every slot. After you've gotten Unwavering Stance and Prismatic Skin, develop out through Devotion and up to the Minion Cluster and Spiritual Aid. This will roughly double your spell damage, including Righteous Fire's damage. Lastly, grab the Combat Stamina Cluster with the Critical Reduction Mastery, and then develop inward to unlock the Life Wheel and take Iron Will. For any clusters or points that I'm not specifically mentioning, you'll want to skip them at first and then fill them in after you take Unwavering Stance and Prismatic Skin, but before you develop in to take Iron Will. Save Iron Will and the Life Wheel for very last. For your Ascendancies, take Radiant Crusade first. This gives you Sentinel of Radiance. Second, take Time of Need. This build is already designed to always stay at full health, and having Time of Need means that now enemies only ever get a 3-second window to kill you. Third, take Radiant Faith, which, to be honest, it doesn't do much for you. However, when you complete your Eternal Labyrinth, take Unwavering Faith. Having Unwavering Faith means that aura stacking becomes hugely beneficial. You'll want to acquire a level 1 Precision Gem and keep it at very low level. Purity of Elements, Zealotry, Blasphemy, even Herald of Ash would all be fantastic options if you're lucky enough to find them. With Unwavering Faith, each active aura, even if it's just a level 1 skill gem, will multiplicatively scale anything that restores your life by an additional 5%. For developing into the endgame, you'll want to fill in the life wheel, but you'll also want to extend up here to take Purity of Flesh. More important than Purity of Flesh is the Sovereignty Cluster. Taking this increased mana reservation efficiency allows you to use more auras, but of course it's only worth taking once you have found auras to use. You're also going to be running into intelligence problems early into the endgame. You'll most likely have to fix this with stats from your gear, but I'm planning also on pathing over here to Quick Recovery, which will give me another 30 intelligence while I'm pathing, as well as access to the Anointed Flesh Cluster. The very last endgame development is to unlock this cluster jewel socket. The way that you're going to do that is to fill in the pathing on the left, connecting the Devotion and Hardy clusters. Filling in the second path then lets you refund this one additional pathing node, but more importantly, once you have enough resistance on your gear that you no longer need the Sanctuary cluster, you can refund all 5 of those additional points. You're taking the easy supporting cluster while you level, but at endgame, once you have the gear to support yourself and once you find a cluster jewel worth using, you can immediately flip all of those points into the cluster jewel. Another thing that you may want to do when you swap that pathing is to come inward and take Sanctum of Thought, which further reduces the damage you take from critical strikes. And don't forget about all of the Abystial sockets that you have access to. They are open and extremely powerful as soon as you find something worth putting in there. This Righteous Fire Guardian is simply overflowing with power. It has so many internal synergies that you are constantly flooded with options, all of them good. It smooths out the campaign and transitions seamlessly into maps. It is great with incursions, and it turns Delve into a pretty literal cakewalk. For anyone who wants a powerful, comfortable character to get started in Ruthless, this build is perfect for you. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care, Exiles.